All right, guys, I am back. I had to hook up my mic because I don't know what happened to my sound. And all that time I was on, I was not even recording. I mean, you couldn't even hear me. All right, so sorry about that, guys. I have to come back and do the entire first part of the video over. I'm going to delete the other video because you couldn't hear me or anything. So hopefully everybody come back over here. No wonder people was leaving because they couldn't hear me. But anyway, y'all, again, let me just say welcome to Shades Tube. Thank you for coming in. Don't forget to thumbs up this video. Also subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed, and hit the bell notification so you can be notified of any upcoming videos. And leave a comment if you watch this in the replay. And thank you again, guys, for tuning back in. And sorry about the technical difficulties that I had in the first video. All right. Let me see. I'm trying to wait till some people come in. I didn't really get a chance to set up all the way because I wanted to hurry up and come and do this stream. Okay, I just want to see what that was going to do. Let me just do this real quick, y'all, while we wait. Let's see. We'll do this real quick, y'all. Let me just put this on here. Okay, let's do that. So you see I corrected the misspelled word as well. But anyway, we are going to discuss some strange disappearance. And we're going to look at a couple of videos, and we're just going to basically discuss the entire situation that we see on the videos, okay? And try to figure out, just basically make a guess or whatever based on what we see. We're going to try to figure out what happened, what could have possibly happened. All right. Everything in this video, y'all, is protected by the Fair Use Act of 1976. That act allows us to be able to use certain information for educational purposes, for teaching, and for commenting, for research, and for I think I say entertainment purposes. Okay, that disclaimer will be below in my bio area as well as in the comment area. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and start off, even though nobody is in the chat or anything, because I messed up on my first video. All right, talking a whole hour, I think, and didn't realize I didn't have any sound or anything. But now I think you guys can hear me pretty good. Let me check. I think everybody can hear me. Let me check with my Can you guys hear me? Go look at my video real quick, see if you can hear me talking. Can you hear me on the thing? Chloe, can you hear me? Can you guys hear me? Just check on my video real quick, because that's the only way I would know. Because you still can't hear me. You guys cannot hear me right now. Yeah, I can hear you. Why is she saying no then? You can hear me on there. Hey, Nick, can you hear me? Because I was having technical difficulties on the first video. So this is a second recording that I am doing right now. I'm going to have to delete the other recording. Can you hear me pretty good, Nick? I can't hear you. Okay, you can hear me? Okay, good. Cool. Okay, cool. So like I said before, some people may not come back. Regardless, I'm still going to do this video so people can still watch it. It's very important for people to watch it anyway, because some of these people that I'm talking about are still missing. And in case you see one of these people or whatever the case is, you'll know. Okay. Well, anyway, we was discussing, let me get his name again. I forgot already. Lars Mittag. He is the German tourist who vanished near a Bulgarian airport. Okay. He disappeared in a field near the Varna airport in Bulgaria, okay, on July the 8th, 2014. Thank you, Nick. He was, at the time, 28 years old, okay? So I'm going to give you a little information on him. Then I'm going to show you a video again because I played it the first time, but you guys couldn't hear me doing my reaction. Okay. Anyway, this was supposed to be a carefree Eastern European vacation. Okay. However, it ended in a family's worst nightmare, in a mystery that endures to this day. Okay. Lars Mittank, a 28-year-old from Berlin, Germany, joined his friends on a holiday to Bulgaria in 2014, but never made it back home. Years later, he was dubbed the most famous missing person on YouTube, as an airport security video of his last known sighting spread across the internet. He has never been found despite millions of people watching his video that he did that they recorded at the airport when he dashed out of there. Okay, so what I'm going to do real quick, guys, let me show you guys what he looks like, or at 28, this is what he looked like, and then I'm going to show you a quick video so you can get a better understanding of this entire thing here. Okay, so that's him at 28. Okay, so let me go ahead and share this again, like I did before, so you guys can see that. Hey, Missy, thank you for coming back. Let me go ahead and do this. Y'all, I'm on an actual mic, so I can't be up here acting crazy now because I'm on an actual mic. I can't even be chewing or anything. You can hear the little seat that I'm sitting in keep on making all these little noises. So that's what that is. So sorry about that, because this mic picks up everything. So I got to basically do this correctly now. Playing no games here now this time. Let's see. I think this is the one. Okay, so again, this is protected by the not class action. Y'all, I'm always talking about money. This is protected by the Fair Use Act of 1976. We are using this video for entertainment and educational purposes only. Okay, so let's go ahead and check this out. Okay, we're going to start it back over. Okay, and listen to him again. Okay, tell us the story and what basically happened. Okay, so this is this man's page, I guess. Okay, that's the guy's page. Oh, no, that's his page. Okay, so we can't do that. Let me go up here.
One video on YouTube a week, if not two. And their case is not new. It's been covered a ton on YouTube, on Reddit. I mean, it's everywhere. But the reason it's so popular, it's dressed. There's this asset years a camera at an airport, and there's multiple camera angles. In front of you.
I don't know why this freezes up like this, y'all.
So much information, and no one knows what happened or where he is. So
let me make a little thing in between here. When my video does that, y'all, I want you guys to realize that we have like, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 7 different electrical devices on in this place. Okay, my place. Okay, computers, phones, laptops, and a gaming computer. And then my daughter is also playing a gaming thing on the TV. So that's why I may do that little, what's the name, every now and then. Because, I don't care what speed of internet you get. If you have a lot of devices on it, it's bound to slow up somewhere. So if you see that, that's where that is from. Okay, just wanted to let you guys know. Now let's go ahead and finish watching that.
Let's dive in. On June 30th, 2014, Lars Mittank and 4 of his friends, these guys are all in their 20s, they left northern Germany, where they were all from. They lived, they worked there, and made their way to Bulgaria. They were staying at a very popular seaside resort called the Golden Sands, and they were just going to have a nice vacation, a nice week-long vacation.
Yeah, he seems like a good
Get
YouTuber.
there, they check into their hotel and promptly begin to relax, and everything is going great. They're, going to the clubs, they're going to the beach, they're eating good food. I mean, it's going the way they had hoped it would go.
Right.
The end of one of the last days of their trip, soccer game. into a full-blown thing. His friends, there was no violence in the bar. It could have gone, but it
Right.
didn't. Look at that night.
Zoom is great to interact on a call. But when it comes to doing podcasts, you have to be using Riverside. What are you doing if you're not using Riverside? Literally.
We found, and they say, okay, well, maybe, he went back to the hotel. Perhaps he just wanted to crash early. So they go back to the hotel, and he's not there. And so they kind of are faced with this decision of like, well, what do we do? And they're like, well, he's an adult. I'm sure he's fine. And I bet he'll turn up soon. So they just kind of write it off and say, Lars will come back. And so they go to bed. When they get up, Lars had returned, and he had this kind of bizarre story about why he was missing.
Okay.
He said that this group of men who he thought were either Russian or locals, so Bulgarians, had attacked him, and he was convinced that they had been sent after him by the people he had been fighting with over that soccer game, that they had kind of like, ordered a hit on Lars. And that was his whole story. And so, his friends are looking at him and they're like, why did you leave? If you had been fighting with them,
right, that make no kind of sense.
The McDonald's, and we would have come out and found you. Like, you had to have gone somewhere for this to happen, or they had to like entice you to go somewhere to leave the McDonald's. And then, like, how long did this attack take? Because this is like, midnight, let's say, at McDonald's, and you're not back at the hotel for 4, 5, 6 hours. Like, the time didn't make any sense.
So what was he doing all that time? 4 to 6 hours. So if he did get attacked, what was he doing for all those hours? It's pretty strange. Very strange.
But ultimately, they kind of decided that, Lars just had a weird night. He's back now. He is safe. So let's just write it off. He was attacked, but we're leaving here today anyways. Lars said that he got hit in the ear during the scuffle with these 4 assailants.
Elisa, this is the Lars Mittank story. The guy who ran out of the airport like that and ran into the woods. This is the story that we are talking about right now. Okay.
And so just to be safe, they said, Lars, you should go to looked at he would have done it back in Germany, and he goes for the antibiotic. Doc tells him that fly home that and you just kind of let your ear, I guess, recover a little bit before you fly home. So Lars goes back and he tells his fear what the doctor said, and their first thought is, well, we'll stay with you. We'll stay here with you. We'll all delay our flights, and we'll fly home together in a couple of days. But Lars was adamant. Maybe he was just trying to be a good friend and not make them worry. He just said, look, I'm going to be totally fine. You guys take your scheduled flight tonight. Go home. I'm fine.
That right there was not a good thing right there. I'm telling you, I think the friends should have probably stayed there with him because he was already acting erratic, okay? And if he was so petrified like he was, I don't know. I think I would have taken a chance and still got on that plane because, I mean, look what happened. You know what I'm saying? I think I would have just took my chances about the ear damage because look what ultimately happened, you know? And like I said, I really do believe his friends should have stayed and waited one more night, you know, since he was having, you know, he was acting a little erratic in the first place, you know? Let's go ahead. And let me ask you guys, when this thing buffers, can you still hear him talk? You know, because I do have the entire story right here in front of me. I just want to know in case I need to just go ahead and go over it myself.
fine. I'll get a cheap hotel. I'll stay here for a couple of days, and then I'll make my way home. It's not a big deal. So Lars and his 4 friends, they take off for the air. Goes to the airport. So is really Lars' behavior.
Okay, so think about it right here. In this story, y'all, it's logging in and out. I don't know why it does this. Okay, sometimes I think this be YouTube. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, he checked in that hotel, right? Let me see if I can find out where he left off at. Let's see. Okay, so they already covered this. Let me see. This thing, I got the whole thing down here, but I'm gonna still show you him because I want y'all to see when he runs up out this airport again. I want you guys to see this. Okay, let's see. So he was telling you guys that Midtank's friends offered to delay their return until he healed up, his ear. But Midtank urged them not to and scheduled a later flight. Okay. He then checked into a hotel near the airport where he began to act erratic. Okay. Hotel cameras captured Lars Midtank on video. He was hiding inside the elevator and leaving the building at midnight only to return hours later. Y'all, where was he going? He called his mom and was whispering on the phone, y'all, told his mom that people were trying to rob or kill him. He also texted his mom, asked her about the medication he had, and he also told his mom to block his credit cards. So he actually believed that someone or some people were trying to get him. Okay. So on July the 8th, 2014, Lars entered Varna Airport. He met with the airport physicians to check up on his injuries, his ear injuries. The doctor told Midtank he could fly, but Midtank remained anything but at ease. According to the doctor, Midtank looked very nervous and just looked like he was scared. Okay. And asked him questions about the medication he was taking. So Midtank was asking the doctor about his meds. Okay. Even though this guy right here said he never took his meds. Okay. The airport was undergoing some type of refurbishment. Okay. And during Lars' consultation, a construction worker came into the office. Okay. Lars was overheard saying, "I don't want to die here. I have to get out of here." And then he got up and ran. Okay. He dropped all of his stuff, his suitcase or bags or whatever. He dropped everything and he dashed down the hall. Okay. He went outside of the airport. He was, as you seen in the video, I'm going to show you that video again because I'm going to, forward this video and show you guys that part of it. He ran outside the airport. At one point, we saw him slow down and start walking just faster. Then he started running again. And then he ran up to the fence, climbed over the fence, just like he said, very easily. And once he was on the other side of the fence, he disappeared into the nearby forest, and they never seen him again. And as this guy right here was saying, he said that a trucker said that he saw Lars. I think he said the trucker picked him up. I'm not sure. I can't remember. But I think that's what he said, that a trucker saw him and picked him up, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. So let me just tell you what this doctor said. According to Dr. Todd Grand, a certified mental health counselor who covered Lars Midtank's disappearance on his YouTube channel, said Midtank had no history of mental illness. But the thing is, some people don't. But that doesn't mean that they can't go into some type of mental breakdown that could have been triggered by something. Okay. because it's clear that he was having something was going on. Either somebody was chasing him, like he said, or either he had started having some type of mental illness going on where he was thinking people were after him. Okay, and that could have been triggered by the altercation, the verbal altercation. And then he claimed that he was beat up when he left. Okay, it could have been triggered by that as well if he actually got into an altercation, but he probably did because that's how his ear got messed up like that. Okay, so to me, it sounds like he probably has some type of mental thing going on, or either somebody was chasing this guy. You just never know. Okay, let's see what some of the theories are saying right here. So somebody said that Mid-Tank was probably looking for an excuse to run away and start a new life. I don't go with this theory either. It's kind of silly. Why would he want to do that? They said he was on good terms with his loved ones. His friends offered to reschedule their flight, so he didn't have to fly back alone. And he texted his mother throughout the trip and everything. So it seems like he was getting along with everybody. So I don't know if, why he would just be, going like that and dashing off and saying people are out to get him if he wanted to get away from everybody when he could just simply just get away. You know what I'm saying? Why leave all your stuff? He didn't take anything with him. He left his passport, his phone, his wallet, everything. If he was trying to get away, he would have at least kept his phone, his money, and passport and just got away. And why would he run out the airport like like something is wrong with him? You know what I'm saying? Like he was. The guy was scared. Okay? He was scared. Now, another theory holds that Mid-Tank was involved with some kind of criminal enterprise that neither his loved ones nor the police knew about. Drug trafficking, perhaps. Now, I don't know because I don't know him. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. This is a theory. It could be. You never know. You never know what people may be doing. You just don't know. Now, another theory is that they said that Mid-Tank really was killed while staying behind in Bulgaria. He told his mother that he was being followed. Many online sleuths suspect that the men he fought with at the bar were still after him. If they were in pursuit, it could explain why Mid-Tank ran away. It also could explain why no one ever found his body. Okay, so yeah, that could be a theory. You know what I'm saying? That could be another theory. The fourth one is that he could have been under the influence of drugs around the time of his disappearance. A lot of people believe the cefprozil, the antibiotic which Mid-Tank had been prescribed to treat his ruptured eardrum, possibly combined with another substance, might have led him to him suffering a psychotic episode. That could be true, but this guy in this video said that Mid-Tank never took his meds. So that theory couldn't be true, okay? Because he never took his meds, according to this guy right here. Somebody said, they said in this article that it's strange, but it's not impossible, okay, that he could have a side effect from that drug. However, again, this guy right here in this video said that he did not take the drug, okay? So that theory is just thrown out of the door because if he didn't take the drug, how could he have side effects from it, okay? Okay, again, they still saying the same thing about the antibiotics, but he never took it, okay? He never took it. So they still talking about the cefprozil, but if he never took that, according to this guy right here in this video, none of this could have happened from the antibiotic, okay? Point blank. And I'm just saying this because I'm reading another article, okay? And it's blaming the medication, all right? But I actually think he's just suffering probably from some type of mental, like I said, a psychosis, okay? All the time, these things are not diagnosed, period, and doctors just don't see it. They just miss it. Nobody is perfect, or people don't be having mental problems at first, and then all of a sudden it just develops. Who's to say when he got into the physical altercation in the verbal one too? Who's to say that that did not trigger everything? Okay, because everything was happening after all of that. All right. So let's see the video of him running out of the airport if this video can act right. Okay, let me go ahead.
Lars calls his mother,
So
this construction worker. And this is actually, I think this is off camera. You see that he's in the office, but you don't see this interaction. And something happens where,
so we're going to watch that, y'all.
A full-fledged flight response.
Now watch this.
Where Lars drops everything he has, leaves his life. I don't want to be out of the airport. This is all on camera. You're going to see it in a second. And he leaves the airport. He's just kind of looking around. He doesn't really know what he's doing. He kind of like jogs his way across the parking lot, and he gets to a big barbed wire fence. Instantly scales it. The barbed wires don't seem to affect him, and he disappears into the woods, never to be seen again.
See, look at this video right here. The ear injury stopped him from leaving. Now you're going to see him running out. Look at him running out, y'all. Out of the airport. He stops a little bit right there. See how he stops? He's not running right there. He's just walking fast. See him? He walked or slightly jogged. He was running right there again. Yeah, he's running up to the fence. I guess he's at the fence.
Since his disappearance,
yeah, jumped the fence already.
There's only been, one unvalidated sighting of him. It was a year later by a trucker who really didn't have much information about him. He just said that he picked up a guy that was like barefoot walking on the road, who later on this truck driver would look at the news or something and would say, oh, that looks like Lars Matank. But that's unconfirmed. Other than that, we have no idea what happened to him. A couple theories about what might have happened. The first one is that perhaps there was a side effect of this antibiotic.
Now watch what he says through here, guys. Let's watch this.
But
see,
there's a couple huge issues with this. The first one being Lars never filled his prescription.
See,
the doctor, when he went to the airport, was able to see his records, and he had not filled it. So he didn't have the antibiotic. But even if he had, this is one of the most commonly prescribed antibiotics. That the percentage of people that have any sort of side effect is it's like less than 1%. So it's possible, but he never filled his prescription. So that seems like that's kind of out the window. The other is, especially if you look at the mydriasis that he was experiencing in the taxi cab with the highly dilated pupils, the hit to the head, ruptured eardrum, that perhaps he suffered a traumatic brain injury, concussion. That was leading to somewhat erratic behavior. And I'm by no means claim to be a medical professional. But typically, if you see side effects of a head injury, it doesn't present itself immediately and like super aggressively.
Right.
It's usually over the course of time, your behavior changes, or at least a couple days later, they present. It's very rare that you would be struck on the head and be a totally different person.
Right.
But it is possible. Another theory is that even though Lars did not have a history of mental health issues, and neither did anybody else in his family, that the fight he got into where he was attacked could have triggered some sort of psychotic break that was so stressful that he lost his mind.
Right.
That is certainly possible too. So weeks turned into months, turned into years, and despite the unvalidated sighting, I mean, no one has any idea where Lars is.
That's sad.
He was an outdoor enthusiast. He was definitely competent in the outdoors, not like a survivalist or something, but he definitely was not, out of his element out in the wilderness. And so some thought perhaps he just wanted to start a new life, and he ran off into the woods and was living it out there. But the family, the Matank family, they hired a private investigator. I mean, they pulled out all the stops to scour the area and look for him, but there's no signs that anybody is like living in the immediate proximity to the airport in the wilderness there, and there's no body, there's no anything.
He's
just gone. I hope one day they're able to find Lars, for better or worse, just closure for his family. So that's going to do it. I'd love to hear your theories in the comments about what happened to Lars and where you think he might be.
So, like you said, it could be so many different things. It could be he had a psychotic episode. Somebody could have also been chasing him like he thought. Like somebody said in this article that I was just reading, they said some people could have been chasing him and they could have caught him or whatever. And that's why they can't find his body or anything. You just never know. Because you would think if he was suffering from a mental condition too, if, somebody would have still probably found him out there, right? Don't you guys think somebody would have still have found him? Now, unless he suffered from some type of mental condition, right? And then he forgot who he is and end up going somewhere else. But remember, he dropped everything on the floor when he saw the construction worker, and he didn't have his phone anymore, no wallet, so no money, no nothing. Plus he told his mom to turn off all his credit cards and stuff like that. So why would the theory of him trying to go somewhere and run away from people, it just don't really it just doesn't add up to me. Okay. It don't sound right. It does not sound right. Okay. To me, I'm just thinking either somebody was really chasing him for real and they caught him, or either he was suffering from some type of psychosis, like people are saying, and what happened to him, we don't know, out there in those woods, because like he was saying, you would find a body. This is what makes me think somebody else is involved in it. Honestly, when I think about it more in depth, it really does make me believe that somebody else is involved in this, because you don't see no body. You don't see any evidence that he was living out in the forest or anything. Nothing. Okay. And he really don't look like when you look at the pictures, it doesn't look like he was suffering from no mental illnesses or anything, even though he could be, because some people be suffering from mental illnesses and don't look like it, point blank. Okay. But the thing is, again, I think somebody would have still seen him, other than the trucker. I think you would still see some type of something out in the woods, since he did run out into the woods and they didn't find anything, not no type of clothing, not no proof that he was in the woods doing anything there. So what happened to him? Where did Lars Mittank disappear to? And was other people really chasing him? Because let me tell you something, when he saw that construction worker, that man reminded him of something and put fear into him, enough fear where Lars dropped all of his stuff and ran out of the airport. Okay. And then when he got outside, he was running still. Then he stopped running some, but he was still walking fast. And then he scaled the fence like it was nothing. And then he started running again into the forest. So what happened to Lars Mittank? I don't know. Probably the people he said. Okay, maybe the people he said that were chasing him. Who's to say? Because the people he got into altercation with, you never know who these people could have been. You know what I'm saying? You never know. So, like I said, it's quick to say people are crazy and things like that, just to have some type of closure. But it doesn't really mean that people are crazy. You understand what I'm saying? Some people could have actually been chasing him. Okay. So my two theories is that somebody was actually chasing him, okay, and they might have gotten him. And the other one is that he could have been suffering from some type of psychotic episode or whatever the case is, where he thought someone or some people was chasing him. However, with that theory, you still don't have any proof of him being in the woods or anything else. The man has to eat. He has to eat. He has to use the bathroom. You don't see no proof of anything. So that brings me back to the other theory, that some people were chasing him and they might have found him. And that's why you can't find him or anything about him. Now let's go with the good thing though. Let's just hope that he was just having some type of psychosis thing, right? And he just escaped and maybe don't remember who he is. And he's living somewhere now and doing good. Let's go with that. Let's hope that's the case. Okay. All right. So let's see. So they said if you do see him, even though he was last seen in that country, in Bulgaria, okay, but I'll still tell you guys this information because you never know who may see this, because I'm sure his parents are still looking for him. All right, I'm sure of that. Let's see. Where is that story? Let's see. Okay, and I don't know if that trucker was I don't know if the trucker was telling the truth or whatever, if that's the person he picked up. But if he did, he was the last person who saw Lars. Okay. Let me see, where is this information I was reading before? I can't even find it now. Okay, let me see. Because it was right where his picture was at. Okay. So this is a age progression picture. I think that's what they call it, of what he might look like now. Because now today he would be what? See, he was 28 then, so he would be about 30. What was he, 28? So he would be about 37 now, or somewhere around that age. So that's what he look like at 28, and now at 37 or so. This is what they think he would look like, okay? And so if you do see him, okay, you can contact the investigative agency at plus 49151 613-78673, or German police at plus 49110, or write an email to guitig_FINDET_LARS at web.de. Okay. And you can find this story in all that's interesting.com/Lars, LARS Mittank, Mittank. Okay. And the last time they saw him, he was last seen on July the 8th, 2014. All right. My prayers are extended out to this family. And if he is still alive, my prayers are also extended out to him. And hopefully he is, and hopefully he's, okay. Let's go with that other theory that he just wanted to escape. Okay. So let's go ahead and go to the next story, another disappearance. This person, let me do this real quick. I don't want to keep that up there like that. Let me go back to that screen real quick. I don't know why this thing buffers up when I be looking at these videos. I'm beginning to think that who does this. Okay. You never know. You never know, y'all. Let me do this real quick. Okay. So the next person we are going to talk about is Brandon Swanson. Okay. Let me do this real quick. Brandon Swanson. Let me see. This is another young man that disappeared, y'all. Okay. It's a lot of people of all genders, race, ages, everything. They are missing with no trace whatsoever. All right. No trace. So this is very important to do a video like this, just to keep people abreast of this right here, because you never know. This could affect, hopefully it doesn't. It could happen somewhere or to someone that you know. So it's always a good thing to learn about things like this and to see what is really happening out in the world versus just being on YouTube watching foolishness. Okay. It's all right to have fun, but it's also a good thing to talk about real stuff and let people know what's up. Okay. So anyway, Brandon Swanson was on his way home for spring break in May 2008 when he got into a minor car accident and called his parents for help. Then he suddenly vanished without a trace. Okay. And this is what this young man looked like back then. I'm going to show you guys. Oh my God, I'm off the screen, y'all. Wait a minute. Let me go to my screen. Let me show y'all what he looks like. Start cam. This is him back in that year, 2008. Okay. So let's do this now. Okay. So Brandon was 19 years old He crashed his car into a roadside ditch near Minnesota West Community and Technical College in 2008. He naturally called his parents for help as he maintained phone contact, telling them his estimated whereabouts. Swanson walked toward some lights he believed came from the nearest town, cutting through fields and climbing over fences as he went to save time. Now, I don't know why they always do that. Okay. I don't know why they do that. Every time people get lost, they start doing the most. Around the time their car reached the 47 mark, Swanson's father heard him shout like profanity or something, and then the line went dead, and Brandon Swanson was never seen or heard from again. So clearly he came in contact with somebody or something because he was using some type of profanity, when he was walking, to try to find someone to contact to get him help. Okay. So now, more than 14 years after Swanson's disappearance, police have still been unable to locate him. They can't locate him or his remains or cell phone or car keys. And his parents are still searching for answers. His mom said, people don't vanish into thin air, okay? But it sure seems like he did. Now, Brandon Victor Swanson was born on January the 30th, 1989. And by 19, he was 5'6" tall. And he was a student at Minnesota West Community and Technical College. On May the 14th, 2008, Swanson set out to celebrate the end of that year's class with his friends. He attended a couple of local parties that evening. He first went to one in Lynn, which is near his home in Marshall, then in Canby, which is 35 miles from his home. Swanson friends would later report that while they saw Swanson drinking, he did not seem intoxicated. Swanson left Canby sometime after midnight to drive home, a trip he made almost every day as part of his commute to and from school. By that night, instead of taking Minnesota State Highway 68, which is the most direct route between Canby and Marshall, Swanson chose to drive through a rural farming roads. And they claimed that he might have done this because he was a little intoxicated. So he might have driven through the rural roads to avoid police. Okay. And y'all know anytime y'all be out driving, don't go through like the isolated areas, okay, to get home. Okay. Just stay on the main roads. Period. Whatever his reasons, y'all, he soon got into trouble. Swanson veered into a ditch near a farming field, and because his car's wheels were now elevated, it couldn't get any traction to drive back out. So around 1:54 a.m., Swanson called his parents, asking for a ride home. He told them he was near Lynn, which is about 10 minutes from their home in Marshall. Swanson parents headed out to pick him up. That's why he should have stayed in the car, staying connected to the car as they drove. But they found nothing but pitch darkness. Tempers flared in the early hours as frustration grew. "Don't you see me?" Swanson asked, as both he and his parents flashed their car headlights to signify their presence, CNN reported. At one point, Swanson hung up. His mother called him back, apologizing, and Swanson told his parents he would just walk back toward his friend's house in Lynn. And so Swanson's father dropped his wife off home and continued toward Lynn, remaining on the phone with his son. All right. As he walked in the darkness, Swanson suggested his parents meet him in the parking lot of a popular nightclub in Lynn, and decided to cut across a field as a shortcut. So that's why he was crossing the field. Okay. Swanson's father heard his son walking alone, then abruptly shout, "Oh shit," as the car dropped out. It would be the last word anyone heard from Brandon Swanson. Now, I wonder what did he see when he said, "Oh shit." His parents repeated calls to his phone, and it went straight to his voicemail. And for the rest of the night, Swanson parents, with the help of their son's friends, searched the rural area, endless gravel roads, and farmland in vain. Okay. Now, the next morning at 6:30 a.m., Brandon's mother, Annette, called the Lynn police to report her son missing. The police responded by saying Swanson was a teenage college kid, and it wasn't abnormal for a young man to be out all night after finishing college classes. As the hours went by without Swanson's return, local police eventually joined the search, then requested a county-wide search response. Swanson's phone was still functioning, and police triangulated the location of his last call to the nearest cell tower. It was in Porter, about 20 miles away from where Swanson had thought he was. Police concentrated their search on the area around Porter, and Swanson's green Chevy Luminous sedan was found that afternoon. The car was stuck in a ditch off of Lion Lincoln Road between Porter and Taunton, but officers found no sign of foul play or Swanson. Wow. An extensive search involved police dogs, air surveillance, and hundreds of volunteers began. The K-9 unit led officers roughly 3 miles away from the ditch to the Yellow Medicine River, which was flowing high and fast before losing Swanson's scent. Hopefully he didn't fall into that water. No personal property or clothing belonging to Swanson was discovered on the route to the river or alongside the 2-mile stretch of the river in the area, which takes roughly 6 hours to walk. Over a 3-week period, search and cadaver dogs found nothing. Swanson has simply vanished into the rural farmland and back roads of Minnesota. Okay. Now, in late 2008, Emergency Support Services, a search and rescue organization based in Minneapolis, identified a 140 square mile area of interest and focused their search there. However, some farmers refused to allow search canines onto their land, particularly during planting and harvest season, leaving significant geographic holes in the search for Swanson. In this issue persists to this day. So now they have some theories about what happened to Brandon. Okay, they said before his disappearance, y'all, he never had any history of mental illness. He was healthy and had no pre-existing conditions. Now, some believe that he could have fallen into the river and washed downstream, but investigators thought that this was unlikely because they never found any body. Okay, and if Swanson had fallen into the river and managed to climb back out onto dry land, he would probably succumb to hypothermia. And then a cadaver dog would also pick up his scent. Okay. And remember, they didn't pick it up. At one point, they stopped picking up his scent, I believe. Okay. Plus, his mom was very doubtful that her son drowned, according to CNN. Okay. Let's see. So it seems unlikely that Swanson drowned. Okay. And then they said it would also seem unlikely for Swanson to stage his own disappearance because he was trying to meet up with his parents that night. Now, another theory suggests that Swanson had experienced a mental breakdown or had died by suicide. But why would he be killing himself? He didn't seem like he was unhappy. But it appears that during their last phone call with him, Swanson had sounded coherent and did not seem to be impaired. Okay. And that report came from the Marshall Independent. All right. Let's see. So, y'all, on July the 1st, 2009, a bill called Brandon's Law passed in Minnesota. The law for which Swanson parents advocated requires authorities to immediately take a missing persons report and begin an investigation regardless of the missing person age. Okay? And they need to do that with everybody. Study talking about somebody is gone and they over 18 and we don't need to look for them and stuff like that. Now, sometimes you can get some good police, right? Even if your child is 18, they will still go out there and look for your child, okay? You got some good police that will do that, Now, the couple's motivation was to prevent other families from having to experience the same things they encountered while trying to initiate the search for their missing son. So that's why they got that law passed in Minnesota, the Brandon's Law, okay? Now, more than 14 years have passed, and searches for emergency support services in the Yellow Medicine County Sheriff's Office continue, okay, when harvesting season allows. And that's another thing. If somebody is missing, nobody cares about harvesting season, okay? Let people look for their loved ones. That's crazy. So let's see. So I'm going to let y'all watch this quick film if the daggone thing don't start buffering again. I notice it does it when I'm doing these reactions to these videos, but we're going to try it one more time and see what they say in this video real quick. I'm going to pick a real short one though, okay, y'all? And I just want to see what somebody else say about that. Because nobody can ever vanish like that, okay? No one could just vanish and nobody knows anything. Now, this is not true right here. Why would somebody put this up here? This is not true. What is this? We were just talking about. Wait a minute. Let's see. So did they find him? This is not the same guy. This is a different guy right here. Brandon Lawson. It's different. Okay. Let's see. Brandon Sauce. I'm trying to find us a real short video real quick. Okay, let's just go back to this one real quick. This 14 minutes. Let's do this one real quick, y'all.
Lift your lashes to the next level. L'Oreal Paris presents.
Let's go ahead and fast forward through this commercial. And let me go ahead and do this.
With a lot of open space. If you're stranded in your car on the side of a secluded road in the middle of the night, you might think twice about trying to hoof it for help. But Brandon Swanson, a 19-year-old college student, thought he would give it a try. It wasn't as reckless as it sounds. He grew up around there, and he was on the phone with his parents the whole time, making sure they knew where he was headed so they could pick him up. Then something strange happened. In the middle of the conversation, Brandon cried out in alarm. Then he went silent. He was never seen or heard from again.
Oh, I like that. Like that thing.
Thanks for watching True Crime Recaps. I'm Chris. And Tuesday, May 13th, 2008 signaled the end of the semester at Minnesota West Community and Technical College. Brandon had just graduated high school in 2007 and didn't feel like enrolling in a 4-year program. Instead, he chose to study wind turbines for a year at the campus in Canby, Minnesota.
Okay.
He grew up in Marshall, Minnesota, about a 36-mile or 40-minute drive from the college. It was an easy drive, too, as Brandon only had to head southeast on the highway to reach his parents' house. No back roads, no confusing exits, no doubling back, nothing. It was a drive he made often and a route he knew well. With school out for the summer, Brandon decided to go out and celebrate with his classmates.
Okay.
The evening began in Lind, Minnesota, a small town about 8 miles southwest of his home in Marshall. From there, Brandon doubled back to Canby to hit a different party. He hung around until about midnight, then said goodbye to his friends, got in his car, and headed home. While on his way home, Brandon got his Chevy Lumina stuck in a ditch. He tried calling his friends for help, but no one picked up their phones. Around 1:54 a.m., he called his parents, told them what had happened, and asked if they could pick him up. He was fine, no injuries, but he couldn't get the car out.
I wish he just would have stopped and waited on his parents to come versus going out there doing the walking and stuff. I don't know why people do that. Just stay in your car and lock the doors and everything. Just stay there. Just stay put. Or if you're going to walk, don't go into no daggone woods and stuff. Get on the main road and just walk down the road for real. But it was nighttime. So I'm saying just stay in the car, even probably get down in the car or something and just have something that you can use as a weapon just in case. Okay.
Annette and Brian Swanson hit the road, and Brian stayed on the phone with his son as they drove. Brandon believed he was midway between Lind and Marshall, about a 10-minute drive from his parents' house. Based on his directions, Brian thought he had a pretty good idea where his son was. Assuming Brandon's information was accurate, the most likely location was a spot where the highway dips down into a shallow ditch. But when Brian and Annette arrived on the scene, there was no sign of Brandon or his car. For miles around, it's nothing but flat terrain. They figured he was close by, so they started flashing their lights and honking their horns. And surely their son would see or hear them. But he told them he couldn't see them. He stayed on the line with his father and started flashing his own headlights. But Brian and Annette never saw his lights either. Little did they know they were in the wrong spot. Brandon was convinced his parents were in the wrong location. Not that he'd given them the wrong directions. He grew frustrated and eventually decided to change gears. He said there were lights in the distance, which made him think he was closer to the town of Lind. So he told his father to meet him in the parking lot of a bar in town. Brandon headed towards the lights on foot. Brian turned around and dropped Annette off at home, staying on the phone with his son the entire time. Brandon narrated his journey while his father drove back into town. It would take his son much longer to walk to their meeting spot, so Brian sat and waited. Meanwhile, Brandon talked about walking along a gravel road and that he was taking a shortcut through a field. He mentioned hearing running water nearby and complained about fences several times. The only guide he had was the light coming from Lind.
Remember, okay, listen. Remember when he said that he was walking, he was talking on the phone, and then he was like, oh shit. Could it be that he did possibly fall into that river? Could it be that when he said, oh shit, or, I don't know. This is weird. Because if somebody was out there, I would have thought that maybe whoever, his mom or dad, forgot who he was talking to. I think that was his mom or either his dad. They probably would have heard somebody. Okay. And then the phone just ended all of a sudden. So, but even if he did fall in the water, I think she would have heard that too. This is kind of weird. Okay. This is kind of weird for real. Okay. It is.
He thought was Lind. Around 2:30 or 3 a.m., while he was on the phone with his dad, Brandon said something about a fence, then yelled, oh shit. The call ended abruptly, so Brian called him back, but Brandon never answered again. Those were the last two words anyone heard Brandon speak. They tried calling him back over and over with no answer. His phone was working, he just wasn't picking up. Eventually, a day or two later, all calls went straight to voicemail, meaning the phone was off. Now, whether someone powered it down or it ran out of battery or broke is a mystery. Worried, Brian went back for his wife, and with a few of Brandon's friends, they searched up and down every street in Lind looking for their lost son. Hours went by, more than enough time for Brandon to surface somewhere, but he never showed up at the parking lot where he had originally told his dad to meet him. The sun rose without a word or sign from Brandon. Officially out of options, Brian and Annette reported him missing to the Lind police. But the cops in Lind weren't pouncing at the story. Your 19-year-old son didn't come home after a college party? Doesn't sound like an emergency. One cop told Annette that Brandon had the right to be missing. But the events between 1:54 and 6:30 a.m. were enough to raise concern. How many drunk college kids call their parents, ask for help, scream, "oh shit," then never answer their phone again?
Right.
Almost 12 hours after anyone heard from him, Lind police sent a search party looking for Brandon. They assumed they'd find him hung over on the side of the road or at a friend's house nearby. But those assumptions were quickly snuffed out. Once they couldn't find Brandon or his car in town, Lind police called the county sheriff's office to pull whatever strings they could. They got his cell phone records to see where he was calling from while he was on the phone with his dad. What they discovered added a bizarre twist to the case. According to his cell phone records, Brandon was nowhere near where he thought he was.
Wow.
He was at least 20 miles from Lind. Sure enough, sheriff's deputies found Brandon's car abandoned on a side street about a mile.
And y'all, that may have been because he was a little probably intoxicated from the stuff that he was drinking. Can you guys hear me? I'm checking to see if y'all can hear me. I think you can. Can everybody hear me in the chat if y'all still there? I think y'all can still hear me. Testing. I think y'all can hear me. Okay.
North of the highway, not far from the Yellow Medicine River, which runs parallel along that stretch of highway. Brandon's car was hung up on an incline on the road's edge. The vehicle wasn't damaged, but the tires were off the ground on one side. The keys were missing, but his glasses were found inside. And that's especially strange because he was blind in one eye and couldn't see without them. But for some reason, Brandon left them behind. Where he went from there...
Okay, he probably just left them behind because he was drinking. So that's probably why he left the glasses in there. Okay.
...is a mystery. The car was surrounded by grass and gravel, so there was no way to tell which direction he walked in. Now, here's where things don't add up. Brandon left the party in Canby shortly after midnight. Assuming he got in his car and drove off right away, he'd reach the area where his car was found outside a town called Taunton 15 minutes later. That's the halfway point between the party in Canby and his house in Marshall. So what happened between midnight and the time Brandon made calls to his friends and then his parents?
That's right.
Why did it take him over an hour to drive 13 miles from Canby to Taunton? Furthermore, why didn't he know where he was? If he left the party in Canby, he'd have no reason to drive anywhere near Lind, especially not near the halfway point he told his father about. From Canby, he'd have to go entirely out of his way down a different highway, then take several back roads to get between Lind and Marshall. This brings us to the question of why Brandon wasn't on Highway 68, which is a literal straight line between Canby and his parents' house. We all know what college kids like to do at college parties: drink. Witnesses at the party said Brandon had one shot of booze and didn't seem drunk when he left. His parents also backed that story up, saying Brandon sounded pretty coherent while on the phone. The only reason one might stay off the main roads is to avoid police. While Brandon was underage, a single shot wouldn't impair a 19-year-old man, at least not enough to warrant a stop. In 2008, the police didn't care about the why. All that mattered was the where. They refocused their search around the Taunton area using a helicopter and a team of trained bloodhounds. The helicopter looked for Brandon in the open fields while the dogs followed his scent trail for almost 3 miles. According to the dog's nose, he walked past several fields before turning west by northwest towards an abandoned farm. But the dogs kept moving past the farm and followed a trail along the Yellow Medicine River. The dog's response indicated that Brandon entered the river at one particular spot. Along this stretch of river, the water could be knee-high or 15 feet deep. It doesn't mean he drowned, but it's not impossible. To be sure, boat teams deployed on the river to search for his body, but they all came up empty. The sheriff didn't buy into the drowning theory either, saying Brandon's body would have washed up if he fell in. They walked up and down the river for 30 days without any sign of Brandon. But the police knew they were looking in the right place, the phone with his dad, and the bloodhounds following his scent down the river lined up with that story.
Oh, he did. That's right. I remember when he said that he was talking about the running water. Now, you know, since they didn't find anything, any trace of him, his clothing, anything, it makes you wonder, you know, did something come up out the water and grab him or something like that? That's why they couldn't find any trace of him, because really, that's the only thing I can really think about. you know. But the thing about it, if something did, you would think the person on the phone would have heard something. No, something else had to happen, because when he said, "Oh shit," then the call went dead. So something could have been coming out the water, okay? And when he said, "Oh shit," he saw it, and then the phone went dead, and it could have grabbed him. That something like that could have happened. What do you guys think?
It's unclear if the dogs picked his scent back up after the river. According to Annette, one of the dogs jumped in the river, jumped back out, and followed the scent up to a different gravel road. She believes Brandon crossed the river and kept moving.
Okay.
The official search ended, but that didn't stop Brandon's parents and 100 volunteers from combing the area between Taunton and Porter, the next town before Canby. Some rode out on ATVs while others took horses to cover more ground. Still, nobody turned up any sign of Brandon or his things, not even a footprint. The summer came and went, and large-scale search efforts resumed in the fall once the farmers had plowed their fields. This time, police brought cadaver dogs to help locate his presumably dead body. They caught the scent of human remains northwest of Porter, but it wasn't Brandon. By now, teams had searched 122 square miles between Canby and Marshall. They followed 90 different leads about Brandon, but none returned any meaningful results. Fall turned to winter, and snowstorms and frigid temperatures made the search impossible. Months turned to years, years into a decade, and as of 2022, nobody has ever seen or heard from Brandon Swanson. And his phone, wallet, car keys, and clothing have never been found. But people still want answers about what happened to Brandon Swanson, and when they don't get answers, they tend to make them up, which leads to wild theories circulating around the internet. Among the most popular is that Brandon did it on purpose. They say he's alive and well somewhere in the world. But people who vanish on purpose are usually running away from something.
Right.
And Brandon, as far as anybody knows, didn't have anything to run from. He didn't have issues at school or home, and he wasn't in any legal trouble. He even had plans to transfer to an Iowa university to continue his studies. Besides, if you were to stage your own disappearance, why would you call your parents and lead them on a wild goose chase at 2 a.m.? Others think Brandon was struck and killed by a car while walking down the dark side streets. But that theory doesn't hold much water for several reasons. One, he was on the phone with his dad when he said, "Oh shit." Brian would have heard the car coming. Haven't you ever been talking on the phone with someone when a car drove by?
And you can hear
it's loud, isn't it? Besides, Brandon said he was taking a shortcut when he muttered his last words. He was nowhere near a road. Could a Minnesota Night Stalker have killed Brandon? It's not impossible, but improbable. A deranged killer would have had to be in the right place at the right time to find him meandering through the fields, and police never found any evidence of foul play. This also rules out any wild animal attacks, as they would have discovered his remains if a bear or wildcat attacked him. In another scenario, Brandon died in a tragic accident. He could have fallen into the water or down a deep hole. And still another theory holds that somebody isn't telling the truth in Brandon's story. Perhaps a group of underage college kids were afraid to get in trouble and lied about how much he drank that night. Maybe they lied about when Brandon left the party or who he left the party with. Where was he for those hours before he got his car stuck and called his parents? Did something happen in Canby that Brandon felt he needed to run from? His mother never forgot.
Now, that could be, y'all know what? That could be something. We never thought about that, because he clearly drank. He drunk more than one cup or one whatever of alcohol. That's why he didn't know where he was at, acting like he didn't know where he was at and things, you know. Maybe they were covering, and lying about stuff. Let's see what else he's saying, y'all.
Forgot what the police said to her when she first reported Brandon missing. He has the right to be missing. She believed if they acted immediately and pulled his cell phone records quicker, they could have saved the time they wasted in Lind. They might have found Brandon alive. Annette met with her local representative to propose a new law about how police handle missing persons. At the time, missing adults weren't treated the same as missing children, and while she knew changing it wouldn't help Brandon's case, it might spare another mother from this terrible experience. The bill was called Brandon's Law. They hoped to change the way Minnesota's existing missing child law was worded. In short, Brandon's Law would change the word child to person. There were a few concerns about privacy among local police forces, and they questioned when they could ping someone's phone and when they couldn't. And while the words, "he has the right to be missing," sound pretty harsh, especially to a worried mother, the officer wasn't totally wrong. Brandon's Law was officially signed into law in May 2009. His family and friends have never given up hope that they may find answers, but as of 2022, no trace of him has been found. What do you think happened to Brandon Swanson?
And that's what I'm saying. What do you guys think happened to Brandon Swanson? Okay. What do you think happened to him? And I told you guys my couple of theories that I think. It's a couple of them that I have. Okay. One is like you just said. The other one could have gotten him because I mean, you don't see a trace of anything. You know what I'm saying? It sounds like something crazy. You know what I'm saying? So let's see what some of these comments says here. Somebody, Olden Wibby said, in the event of a missing or endangered person, the police ought to have the authority to search on lands, regardless of season or an owner's dislike. He may have stumbled onto someone's property and been shot as a trespasser. The thing about it is that if he was shot, they would have still found something. Also, when they had the cadaver dogs out, they would have caught his scent, or the other dogs. They would have caught his scent. So I don't know about that, Okay, somebody said that's what I was thinking, that maybe Brandon accidentally happened upon a meth operation or something else and was murdered. Okay, I never thought about that. He was no threat to anyone and would have explained himself if given a chance. If someone out there knows, they should at least give closure to his family and law enforcement. And you don't have to tell anyone. This is odd. Now, I didn't even think about that. That could be another possibility. But okay, so he was on the phone with his dad and he came upon something that made him say, "Oh shit." And then the phone hung up. That could be anything. And then, the other theory I made couldn't be right because if something did come out the water, he would have screamed. Okay. Instead, he just said, "Oh shit." So it could be possibly something else. You know what I'm saying? Because you would think if something came out the water, he would have been like, I don't know. Some people do say, "Oh shit," when they see stuff, especially guys. But I think he would have probably said it in a more terrifying way. I don't know. This is a weird case too. Somebody said, this is very confusing case of a missing person. I can't imagine how rough it must be on Brandon's dad because he was on the phone with Brandon, right? When he disappeared. I don't see how he could have been killed for trespassing because he wasn't out there stealing or prowling. He was just cutting through as a shortcut, and he knew where he was because he suggested his dad pick him up in a known club parking lot. But he did not. He thought he knew where he was. Okay. He was never anywhere close to where he thought he was. This is what makes me think he was a little more intoxicated than what his friends claim. Plus, he left his glasses in the car, because he couldn't see out of one of his eyes. Okay, so usually you would take your glasses with you. You would have your glasses on and stuff. But anyway, I don't know, guys, but my prayers are extended out to his family, also to him, and I hope they do find Brandon alive. I hope, maybe he got somewhere else or something. I don't know. But hopefully they do find him alive. If not, I hope they get some closure and still find their son. And again, my prayers are extended out to his family and friends and to Brandon if he's still alive. Okay, again, it's Brandon Swanson. He disappeared in the early hours of May the 14th, 2008. His final words to his parents on the phone were, "Oh shit." Okay, and then the phone just hung up. Okay, so that's Brandon Swanson. What do you guys think happened to Brandon? All right, so I think we're going to do maybe one more. Let me see. I think it's one more, maybe two. I think it's just one more. I think this is the last person for tonight. And this person is Brian Shaffer. Okay. Let's do Brian Shaffer. So Brian Shaffer was a medical student who vanished from an Ohio bar. So in the early morning hours of April the 1st, 2006, 27-year-old Brian Shaffer was captured by CCTV cameras entering the Ugly Tuna Saloon and hasn't been seen since. As a second-year medical student at Ohio State, Brian Shaffer had a bright future ahead of him. But that all changed on April the 1st, 2006, when a night on the town to celebrate the beginning of spring break ended in his disappearance. Now, Shaffer was last seen bar hopping with his roommate when in the company of many bargoers, and just before 2 a.m., he just disappeared. Okay. This is what Brian last photo looks like of him. I got to excuse that. That's my son back there talking, y'all. So that's Brian. Okay. So he was born on February the 25th, 1979 in Pinkerton, Ohio. Brian Randall Shaffer was a responsible son and student. After graduating high school in 1997, he attended Ohio State University, where he later began his studies at the OSU College of Medicine in 2004. As Shaffer told his peers, however, his real dream was to start a band. He was drawn to the tropical lifestyle of Jimmy Buffett and adored Pearl Jam enough to get their logo tattooed on his arm. All right. He met his girlfriend in 2006. She was also a second-year medical student. Those closest to the couple believed he was planning to propose to her during their spring break trip to Miami. That was planned just before Shaffer's disappearance, okay? Brian Shaffer's family was first struck with tragedy in 2006 when his mother died of bone cancer. Then on March the 31st, 2006, Brian Shaffer and his roommate, William Clint Florence, walked to the Ugly Tuna Saloon bar in Columbus University District, eager to blow off steam from their spring finals. Around 10 p.m., Shaffer called his girlfriend to confirm their trip and to tell her that he loved her. His girlfriend was headed to visit her parents in Toledo before reuniting with Shaffer on Monday morning. After shots and beers at the Ugly Tuna, the two men went to the Arena District in Short North, where they met Meredith Reed, Florence friend, who offered to drive them back to the Ugly Tuna. As security footage outside the Ugly Tuna confirmed, all three of them rode the escalator to the bar's second-story entrance at 1:15 a.m. For some reason, Shaffer reemerged outside before 2 a.m. and was seen chatting easily with two women in their 20s before vanishing. Florence and Reed tried calling him several times, but to no avail, and went home when the bar closed. Calls from his father, Randy Shaffer, and his girlfriend also went unanswered all weekend. On Monday morning, Brian Shaffer missed his flight. He was designated as a missing person that day. This is weird. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to one of these little videos about him, and let's see what they say on in one of these videos, y'all, about this case. All right, let's go ahead and see. These are some strange disappearances. I'm not gonna lie about that. My gosh. So he was out there talking to two women. Now, did he leave with these women or what? Or were they like, did they make him leave or something like that? I don't know. Let's see. Okay, so let's get a short one. Let's go ahead and look at. So I must have been watching this before because I see where the thing is. I must have watched this before. All right, let's go ahead. Or somebody was watching it. I don't know which one to watch. The Missing Brian, this one or this one. Let's do it on this one. Okay, y'all, let's go ahead and check this out.
Are you sick of having issues with your webinars, wasting tons of time?
The other speaker we just listened to, he has a really good voice. I love the way he did his show. I like the way he did it. Got a real good speaking voice too. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and watch this one real quick.
So a man walks into a bar and vanishes into thin air. Yeah, I thought that was a pretty bad joke myself, until I realized it wasn't one. Oh boy, my name is Adrian, and today we're looking into the mysterious case of Brian Shaffer, who disappeared in a bar back in 2006, and still to this day hasn't been found. So grab a coffee, sit back, and relax. Let's investigate.
That's right. Let's investigate this, y'all. Let's see if we can try to come up with something.
Our story begins in Ohio. With a man named... He graduated from his local high school in 19...
Wait. I don't know why some of these videos buffer. I guess it's depends on what we watch. So we're gonna see if it's gonna keep on buffering, because if it does, I'm gonna go to the other one. Okay, so let's go ahead. I like the way he delivers this, but if it keeps buffering, we're gonna use a different one.
97, where he then enrolled into Ohio State University as an undergraduate to study medicines. Brian was well-natured, smart, and hardworking, and he also had a creative side. He loved to play the guitar, and he really enjoyed his tropical holidays. While at Ohio State University, Brian met and fell in love with his girlfriend, Alexis Wagner, who he adored very much.
It's a pretty picture.
Fast forward, and it is now March the 31st, 2006. It was a Friday, and classes had broken up for spring break. Brian had just completed his second year, studying his bachelor's in microbiology. To celebrate this, Brian had scheduled a night out with his friends. But before this, he promised his father to meet at a local steakhouse for dinner. Randy and Brian always had a great bond as father and son, but they'd grown even closer following the tragic loss of mother Renee Shaffer, who passed away from a rare form of bone cancer just 3 weeks earlier.
Wow.
This really devastated the two, along with brother Derek, but the three were finding comfort and support from each other. During dinner, Randy noticed that Brian looked exhausted, probably from the long streak of all-nighters that he was doing in the previous weeks to keep up with his exams. But despite this, Brian still planned to go out with his friends for drinks.
Excuse me.
I mean, come on, who wouldn't?
Right.
So at about 9 p.m., Brian said goodbye to his dad, and he met up with his friend William Clint Florence at a bar nearby on High Street. He and Clint, they slowly worked their way from bar to bar, taking one shot of hard liquor at a time, towards the Arena District of Columbus. And just after midnight, while still drinking, the two met up with Clint's friend Meredith Reed. Meredith gave the two a lift to a local bar called the Ugly Tuna Saloona, nice name, and joined them for their final drink there. The last drink started off no different than any other. The three mingled with friends around them and enjoyed music coming from the live band next to them. Drinks were flowing, conversations were swirling, and the next thing they knew, Clint and Reed couldn't find Brian. They checked the bar, checked the toilets, checked outside. He wasn't there. Now, it wasn't unusual for Brian to disappear after one drink or four, but the two tried to find him nevertheless. They even repeatedly called and texted his mobile phone to see if they could get a hold of him. But it was now 2 a.m. and the bar was closing. And after waiting for Brian outside for a while, they figured that he'd just gone home without warning them. So the two went home as well. The next morning, Brian's girlfriend, Alexis, tried to call his mobile, but the call went through straight to voicemail. No worries, she thought, he's probably sleeping off a hangover. Brian's dad tried to call him shortly after, but just like everyone else, voicemail. Morning turned to afternoon, afternoon turned to evening, and Alex's worries were starting to grow even more. Her and Brian had planned to go to Miami just 2 days later, and she was excited about the trip. It was also very unusual for Brian not to message or call back. It's not really in his nature. 2 days later, and the moment finally arrived. Alex packed her bags, went to the airport, flight ticket in hand, and waited for Brian.
Wow.
But Brian's silence did not change. He never showed up.
That's sad.
He missed his flight, and so did she. It was at that moment that both Alex and Randy were really worried for Brian. They called the police and filed a missing persons report. Police began their search very quickly at the last place Brian was seen, the Ugly Tuna Saloon. The local area had seen crime rates rise in the last few months, so luckily the bar had caught. When police viewed the surveillance footage overlooking the bar's only entrance, there they found Brian, Clint, and Reed. Brian's shave was close, his hair was neatly combed, his jeans and his olive t-shirt were well fitted. Footage showed the three going up an escalator to the bar's main entrance at 1:15 a.m. Brian was again seen outside of the bar at 1:55 a.m, talking briefly with two young women before saying his goodbyes and moving off camera, most likely in the direction back to the bar.
Okay, so he left.
That was in fact the last time Brian was ever seen, because oddly enough, the camera never picked up Brian leaving the Ugly Tuna later on when the bar closed. What's even more odd is that this was Brian's only plausible exit. The bar was on the second floor, and the only entrance was by an escalator in which the camera guarded. There was one other possible exit, however, a service door.
Okay.
But not only was the door banned from public use, it also opened up to a construction site, which would have been extremely difficult for anyone to maneuver through, even when sober. So the Ugly Tuna Saloon and the building it was situated in was relatively new. The building was only constructed about a year prior. And while the bar itself was complete and in function, the rest of the building's interior was still steel and concrete. Police reviewing the footage along with the bar staff counted the number of people entering and exiting the bar throughout the night. The final count, however, would equal one less when leaving. This means that even if Brian had disguised himself, he still would have been accounted for by the camera.
But why
More disturbingly, it meant that he would have left by himself.
But why would he be disguising himself? For what purpose?
Otherwise, there would be -2 on the count. So the location that the Ugly Tuna was in had a lot of public security cameras. This gave the police a head start on trying to see if they could find Brian later on in that evening. However, after reviewing hundreds of hours from footage in the local area, no sighting of Brian was ever made.
Wow.
Police investigating the case found that the last signal to Brian's phone was made at around about 2:10 a.m. when Clint made a text message to him asking him where he was. Search efforts spread out far and wide from the Ugly Tuna Saloon, with officers and police dogs looking through the streets, inspecting dumpsters and waste containers, interviewing the local residents, and even checking the city's sewer system. Unfortunately, though, no useful information was ever discovered. Brian's apartment, 6 blocks away from the Ugly Tuna on King Avenue. Police found his car still parked outside.
Wow.
And in the property, nothing was amiss. His bed was found neatly tucked, all clothes and personal items accounted for. Police searched for miles in every direction of the bar, and no clues ever showed up. They began to speculate if maybe he'd run away to grieve for a mother that just passed 25 days before.
Like that?
But then again, if he did do this, in which there was no sign he was intending to, how did he leave the bar? And why so abstractly? Everyone who had seen Brian that evening was asked to take a lie detector test. And while all that took it passed, it was noted that Clint refused to take the test. We'll get to that later.
Why.
Brian Shaffer's disappearance seemed permanent, though.
Okay, so his friend Clint refused to take the test. I wonder why. And then on my thing that I'm reading, it says, okay, that's his roommate who refused to take the wait a minute. See, let's see. It said during the first few days of his disappearance, up to 50 cops searched for him at any one time. Shaffer's friends and relatives were questioned, and everyone except his roommate, who refused pass the lie detector test. So his roommate did not take it. I wonder why. And also the two women he was seen chatting with, they were not asked to take the test either. Okay, so that's kind of weird, especially their roommate refused. Why did he refuse to take the lie detector test? Okay, why? And why didn't the police talk to the women who he was chatting with? Maybe probably because they said that he left from chatting with the women and went the other way while the two women were still, I guess, standing wherever they were at. So maybe that's the reason why they didn't have them take the lie detector. But they should have had that roommate take it. I don't know how they managed to let that not happen. Oh, look, they said Ragnar, his girlfriend, reportedly called his cell phone every day, but it went straight to voicemail until one night in September when it actually rang 3 times. But Shaffer's wireless provider said that may have been a computer glitch. I don't believe that. And then it said additionally his phone was not GPS enabled, so his location could not be determined. But a ping from the phone was detected at a cell tower 14 miles northwest of Columbus. And they said the final footage of Brian Shaffer from the security cameras at the Ugly Tuna clearly showed him walking off screen. Okay, so he was walking off screen and back toward the bar entrance before disappearing entirely. It was certainly possible that the camera simply missed Shaffer before he left the scene, but one camera panned continuously around while the other one was manually operated. And they said that Shaffer could have disappeared on purpose, and he could have went through the other door, which led to a chaotic construction site. Okay, they say he could have changed his clothes or left through the exit that led to the construction site. And I'm okay, but why would he do all of that? Why? And so they said when neither Brian Shaffer's credit cards or bank accounts or cell phone were used a single time in more than a year, his family began to lose hope that he might still be alive. Okay. Now, the only people that's in this remaining family is his younger brother who is still searching for him. Oh, his dad must have died. Hope briefly came and went in 2020 when a photo of what looked like an American man who was homeless in Tijuana, Mexico, and who bore an uncanny resemblance to Shaffer went viral. Okay, but the FBI determined that that wasn't him. Now, if Brian is still alive today, he would be 42 years old. Okay, and they did a digital mock-up of his face to reflect aging. Okay, and they said if anyone see him, the Central Ohio Crime Stopper has offered a $100,000 reward. Okay, if you see him. Okay, so let me go ahead and show you what he would look like today real quick. Let me put my food down for a minute. Oh man, I'm hitting the mic and everything else, y'all. I'm not used to this mic. Let me show y'all what he may look like today. Let's see. So today, y'all, this is an age progression thing that they're showing you here of what he may look like. Just in case you see him, he was last seen in Ohio. Okay, he should be about 42 years old now. Okay, hey Elisa. So again, this is just another prime example of a person just vanishing. But in his case, though, I'm seriously thinking that maybe he did choose to leave. I mean, for real, because it kind of sounds like that. Because he was talking to those two women, right? And then he went the one way, but then he could have. They said that, welcome back, Lisa. They said he could have came back and went back inside the bar, and then he could have left out the bar through the construction site area. You know what I'm saying? And he could have changed clothing, okay, and then just disappeared for whatever reasons. We just don't know, and we just don't know. Sometimes people just vanish. Now, in the other two cases, I don't believe they just disappear like that, vanish on their own. But in this case right here, it seems like he could have possibly, that could be the case. Just get up and leave. I'm done with everything. Who's to say that college wasn't getting to him or whatever? But still, why would he just leave his girlfriend like that? That's the puzzling thing. That's the part that I'm like, would he really just get up and walk away from everything? You know what I'm saying? So that's something that makes you think of other things once again. Let's go ahead and finish to see what else he was saying in this video real quick.
But no sufficient evidence or reason for his disappearance ever showed up. After months of no leads or evidence, the case started to cool down. But Brian's girlfriend Alex, she still waited for him to return. Every night, for her own comfort, she would call Brian's mobile phone, just to listen to his voice. But she would also call just to check to see if his phone ever turned back on. And then one night, as Alex got into bed in September 2006, she did her usual, got into bed, called his mobile, and it rang. Alex, she couldn't believe it. So she called it a second time, and it rang, and then a third time, and it rang. So she called the police. They too rang his phone. It rang once, and then hung up. When they tried a second time, it went through straight to voicemail. They did, however, manage to trace the phone signal during the time that it rang the first time. The phone's ping was located to a cell tower 23 kilometers northwest of Columbus, Ohio. However, Brian's phone didn't have any GPS capability, so that's as far as they'd ever got. Nothing came from this phone call, and Brian's mobile phone operator, Singular, said that it very well could have been a glitch. Nothing more materialized from the phone or from Brian, and here the case officially went cold. Randy Shaffer, having lost his wife just 3 weeks before losing contact with his son, relentlessly searched for Brian. He never gave up hope, and he made hundreds of friends along the way. That was until September the 14th, 2008. Hurricane Ook was sweeping through Ohio, which was experiencing exceptionally heavy storms throughout.
Wow.
Randy was at his home in Baltimore, walking to his shed while clearing up debris in the back garden, when the limb of a nearby tree was ripped from its trunk. The large branch struck Andy, fatally wounding him. Neighbors would find him dead in his garden the next morning. He was only one of 6 to die in that hurricane.
Wow.
Whew. What a freak accident.
The whole family, y'all. Y'all, the whole entire family except the younger brother. That's sad.
So, what happened to Brian Shaffer? With Randy dead and Alex moving on, efforts into the case of Brian's disappearance naturally depleted over the years. We still don't know what happened to him to this day. There are, however, a few theories out there. One main thought is that Brian could have left his life to start a new one. Following his mother's death, Brian was devastated. Her funeral was only 3 weeks before he disappeared. Brian was also questioning his career path shortly before he disappeared. He wrote on his MySpace profile,
"I really love music, and this whole doctor thing is really just a job, only temporary, until I get my bands together and put out a record. I want to own an island someday, or at least a beach so I can listen to Buffett all day and drink margaritas with my senorita."
So maybe along with the devastating news, life's too short after all, Brian decided to quit his current life and start a new one, doing what he wanted to do. Although this is possible, Alex, Randy, and Derek all believed that Brian had too much of a heart to just up and go without saying goodbye.
Plus, I don't believe that 100% because he would have left his girlfriend. You know, then they say they used to talk all the time and everything else. So why would he just get up and run away to live on an island and to listen to Buffett or whatever, you know, to live out his dream? Because he wanted to do the band more than anything. So he gonna just disappear, but not take his girlfriend with him? No, I'm not buying that, guys. I'm just not. I'm not buying that. I'm not.
It also doesn't explain why he decided to avoid the bar's main entrance. He could have just disguised himself on the way out. Detective Andrew Edwards, who also investigated the possibility that Brian changed his clothes and left the ugly tuna undetected, said he could say with 100% certainty that Brian did not leave via the escalator. The next most supported theory is that Brian tried to leave the bar via the service door, and while in the construction area became trapped and died there. We know that on the night Brian disappeared, the rest of the building was still under construction. And while the building did have a back exit, it would have been extremely difficult to find his way out, even without several drinks beforehand.
Okay.
Brian's friends also tried to call him only minutes after he disappeared. Within those minutes, Brian was already ignoring their calls.
Wow.
It was unusual for Brian to do this, and so if he was already in trouble, hence ignoring the phone calls, chances are that he was still in the building. It's very unlikely that he would have had the time to make his way across the construction site. So that supports this theory. Police were also very vague with questions directed towards when the construction site was searched. And still, to this day, they refuse to share their leading theories as to what happened to Brian. Could Brian have slipped through the cracks and been buried by cement? Maybe. Another theory is that Brian could have left the Ugly Tuna and died later on.
Okay.
However, Brian's body, his clothes, his wallet, and his phone,
Never been
all of
found.
them, they were never found. Columbus is also a very densely populated area, which means that if he was murdered, his body would most likely show up,
Right.
and it never did. It's also very rare for a spontaneous killer to conceal or hide a body. And all of Brian's friends had been accounted for and passed a polygraph test.
Except the roommate.
That is, apart from one. And this leads us to our last theory. Was Clint involved in Brian's disappearance? Clint was the only person to have spent the entire night with Brian, and
Yeah.
was also a good friend of his. So it's likely that if Brian had plans to get away, he would have told Clint that night. Clint also confirmed to police, along with other witnesses, that he and Brian had a verbal altercation
Okay.
on the night that he disappeared.
That's
So
true.
was Clint angry at Brian? Now, we already know that Clint refused to take a polygraph test, but to add to
And
further
that's
suspicion,
odd.
he lawyered up as soon as he was requested to take one.
Wow.
He also cut all communication with friends and acquaintances of Brian after that moment. What was Clint hiding?
Uh,
Potentially nothing. Polygraph tests are notorious for sometimes being inaccurate. Clint was also speculated to be taking drugs around the time Brian disappeared.
okay.
It's understandable that he may have wanted to steer clear of a polygraph and any damning evidence of him taking drugs
All right.
to protect his career path in the future.
Could
So
be.
who knows? Brian's brother, Derek, believes that Clint knows something, but Clint ain't talking.
Wow. So what do y'all think? Do y'all think Clinton knows something or was involved in that? Because it's pretty odd that he refused to take the test, the polygraph test. I'm surprised they even let him not take it and stuff. But yeah, that's suspicious. It's very suspicious for real. Let's see what else he's saying.
And that's all we have. It's all what happened to Brian Shaffer at all. Friends and family that were close to Brian still hope that one day he'll return. But with every year that passes, that dream looks less likely. Police formally believe that Brian is still out there, somewhere, alive. But friends and family that were close to Brian still believe he had too much of a heart to go without saying goodbye. And if you ask me, I have no idea. I think I'd like to know more about the construction site. Get
Yes.
some ground-penetrating radar on the walls and the floors, just to make sure he's not in there. I can't see how he got away. If he did, though, come back, Brian. I'm sure the Secret Service would love your sneaky skills. And the rule of the story, folks, is look after your drunk friends.
That's right.
We all have one that likes to sneak away at the end of the night. You know who you are.
I like this.
Hello there, and thank you so much for watching another video of mine. If you enjoyed this case, please.
Okay. I like that. Okay. There you go. All right. So yes, again, y'all, let me go ahead and do this. Go to this right here for a minute. Wait, let me go to another screen. You can never tell exactly what happened to any of these people that I went over tonight. My prayers are extended out to his brother and any other remaining family members and friends and his ex-girlfriend and stuff. And my prayers are extended out to him if he's still alive as well. Okay. Also, my condolences are extended out to his brother, regarding his dad who died back in 2008, I believe. I think that's what they said and stuff. And for the mom too. That's a shame. So much devastation in his family. But anyway, like I said, um, I don't know I don't know about this last one. Okay. I just can't see. I mean, anything is possible. He could have left, changed everything to get away, but I still don't see it. Okay. Because why would he leave his dad? He know his dad probably needed him, especially since they just lost his mom not too long ago before he died. Okay. So I don't see him just getting up, leaving like that, considering, how they described this family and their, you know, how they was together, how they was together, how devastated they was when their mom, died. I don't see him getting up, leaving his dad like that. I just don't. And I certainly don't see him, running away from his girlfriend either, you know, regardless, what I'm saying? I just don't see that. Now, it's a lot of theories out there. One is that he could have went through the construction way and got injured and, or whatever the case is. Or something at the bar could have happened there. Who knows? This is a lot of things you can think of, especially with everything that's happening in this world today. There's so many theories. Okay. But again, y'all, watch your loved ones, watch your friends when you're out with them. Make sure if you're stranded somewhere, don't start getting out the car, walking places and stuff like that, because you never know what's out there. Okay. You never know what's out there. So you got to be cautious, and, just kiss your loved ones and, tell them you love them and just be careful out there because you never know what could happen. You never know. People be missing every single day. And I see, right, trust no one. I see stuff up all the time about people missing. And that's women, men, kids. It doesn't matter. Old people, young people, middle-aged people, whatever. I see them all different race. So it's very important to watch what you do. When you go out with your friends, y'all all stay together. Don't be separated, especially when they're intoxicated. Not to venture into woods or isolated areas when driving. And certainly if your vehicle breaks down, you don't get out the car. You don't get out of the car and just say you have to. You try to stay on the main road and carry some type of weapon with you, point blank, for self-defense. You never know. And get AAA. Okay, get AAA because then you can call them up and keep that cell phone charged up. Keep it charged up. But don't be walking out because even if you think you know an area, at nighttime, things are different. Right. Check on your people. You are right, Missy. But at nighttime, things are different. And the freaks do come out at night. And the freaks also come out early in the morning, too. Okay. So don't be getting all out trying to venture off into no woods and stuff like that. And stop getting intoxicated, too. Take a little bit, but don't get drunk. Because a drunk don't be knowing what's up. Don't know what's happening. Don't know what's going on. It's easy to take advantage of somebody intoxicated anyway. Plus, your judgment is not good. So I hope you guys learned something from all these cases that I just went over tonight. These different disappearances. I hope you guys learned something. All right. Let's see. I don't know if I have time with this real quick. I'm late. It is 10:19 here. I may can go through it real quick. I'll probably just tell you guys like 2 stories, okay? Just 2 stories, maybe just 2 stories. Yeah, I don't know what was wrong with my I don't know. Ever since I downloaded the new Windows thing on my computer, remember it did that before Missy where the sign went out. But I went back to my old Windows. So you would think it wouldn't still be giving me a problem. But when I get through this live, I'm going to restart my computer anyway. Turn it off, restart it. and then go from there. If not, I'm just going to start doing my lives with this mic, on like I'm doing now. Then I won't have to worry about the sound going out or anything else. All right. But I don't know why I did that. I'm going to look into the settings and all that too and see. But I may just start using this because that was a trip, Now, let me go ahead and go over some breaking news real quick. We're just going to go over maybe 2 or 3 stories, and that's going to be it. And then I'll tell you guys the rest of it tomorrow night. Okay? So we are going to do breaking news real quick, y'all. Again, my condolences. I'm not going to say my condolences. I'm just going to say my prayers to all of the families that are affected by these incidents that we went over tonight. And my prayers are extended out to the people who are missing, because I hope they are still alive. All right? I really do. Oh, wow. Really, Missy? Wow. I don't know. I got Frontier. And then this T-Mobile is a trip too. Usually Frontier works pretty good, but like I said, I got so many computers on here, and look, it could be. I got so many computers on over here, and everything else, you just never can tell. And it could be. That's a whole nother topic. It could be. You never know. Like I said, anything is possible. And I used to be saying to people, oh, no, that can't be possible. I stopped saying that a long time ago. I'm not going to lie. Anything is possible in this world today. And I mean anything. All right? I mean anything. So let's go over some breaking news. Breaking news. Breaking news. All right. All right. Let's see. Okay. So y'all, the former NFL player Stanley Wilson Jr. may have died from excessive force, a family claims in a lawsuit. I don't remember about this NFL player, but let's see what they're saying on this. Okay, so he died at the Twin Towers Correctional Facility on February the 1st. Okay. So they have launched, his relatives launched a lawsuit weeks after his death at a Los Angeles County mental health facility. I think I do remember that incident. Let me go back to the comments because I'm all on a whole nother screen, y'all. Oh, you do too? Yeah, that's right, you do. See, when you have a lot of devices on and it's pulling from one source, that can make things lag and slow down and stuff like that. And stuff. And like I told you, we too have on a lot of devices. I mean a lot. And when I say a lot, I mean a lot. I even got my other phones pulling from my internet, along with, like I said, 2 gaming. It's actually, let's see, 2 gaming computers. Then the gaming thing on the TV. Then you got this computer on in here that I'm on. Okay. Then I got 2 of my cell phones coming off this Wi-Fi, as well as my one that I use. So that's 7 things. My other laptop pulls off this Wi-Fi, even though it's not on, but I think it still pulls. I think it still uses it. I'm not sure. I thought that's what Frontier told me. So that's 8. And then my TV in my room, which is 9. So you know what? We're pulling like probably 10 or 11 devices from Frontier. So that could be another reason why it lags at times. Because like when I do my TikTok videos, I notice with this new phone, my TikTok video lags. I'm sorry, y'all. This is why I don't like using a mic. Because everything I do on a mic, you can hear me. Now, when I'm not on this mic, you can hear everything I'm doing. That's why I don't like to be on the mic and stuff. Because this little mic I'm using a double mic. What I did is using my, I don't know what you call this other mic. This Yeti. I'm using my Yeti mic, which we do ASMR. Well, she was doing ASMR videos from that. Had me buy this damn mic. This mic cost $100, and she had me buy it and use it a couple times to do this. Listen. You hear this, y'all? This is my fingerprints. No, she didn't talk. I'm just doing that crazy stuff, okay? But she used to do ASMR videos. I should start doing it. Listen to these fingerprints. I mean, not fingerprints. I'm not even good at acting. I told y'all, listen. Listen to this fingernails. Okay. Anyway, she would be doing stuff like that on the Yeti. She did it for about a couple of weeks, and then all of a sudden she stopped. Okay, so this mic just been sitting on my computer desk. And so I got this mic on along with my gaming headset on to plug into this mic because I couldn't figure out how to do it from my actual computer. So I just did it a different way. And so I'm actually talking through 2 mics and stuff. I don't know what it sounds like on video though. Hopefully it sounds all right and stuff. But when I first talked on a video, when I was doing a live, I was like kind of scared, but I'm not now. Okay. And I don't know why I was scared anyway, because when I was doing smooth before I really lost my voice, I would use my gaming headset to record the songs on. Okay. And stuff. So I haven't did smooth in a while now because my daughter laughed at how I was sounding so much. She laughed at it so hard, y'all, and told me I sounded a mess because I be hoarse all the time. And she was like, just stop singing, basically, because you can't do it anymore because your voice is like totally gone from in this environment out here. So y'all know what? She kind of hurt my feelings. She didn't even know. But anyway, I haven't been on smooth really since, okay? Because she was tripping out. Thanks, Missy. You know what they did? I told y'all the story before. I'm driving in the car, right? She goes and put the song on and play it in the it came through the regular speakers in the car, and they sitting up there laughing in the car, making jokes and stuff. So ever since that day, I was like, you know what, she may be right. I do be sounding a mess, because my voice be hoarse and stuff. And I decided not to do it for a while. And I was like, I won't be on smooth again until I could actually sing a note, carry a note and stuff. However, I can get on there and rap though. I can do that. But sometimes my voice goes so bad that I can't even rap either, but I do pay for it. So I am going to go back on there and do a rap or something. Probably not really sing or nothing, but I'll do a rap and stuff. But yeah, that's why I haven't did my new, that's why I haven't made another video for Shades Tube either, because I would have to basically lip sing it to my actual song because I'm not going to be able to do it because as you can see, my voice is out a little bit. You hear it? See, it's loud like that. So, and I can't even do soprano at all now. I can't even hit no notes at all. When I used to get hoarse a little bit, I could still do soprano, but now I can't. And I can't even change my voice like a dude and sing and still be sounding horrible. I used to be able to change my voice and make it sound deeper and be able to carry a tune, but now I can't even do that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what this weather out here did to my voice. I don't know. Maybe something is wrong with my vocal cords. You just never know. So I may get it checked out and stuff, eventually I may get that checked out, because my voice be gone. Sometimes you can't even hear me, when I'm doing videos and stuff. But anyway, getting back to this guy, his family is doing a lawsuit, okay, because they claim that photos of Wilson Jr.'s body reveal he may have been a victim of excessive force before he died at the Twin Towers Correctional Facility on February the 1st. He had fresh wounds to his forehead, which they claim was caused by a shoe. Okay. He also had marks on his wrists, which shows that he may have been in handcuffs at the time. Okay. He used to play for the Detroit Lions, and he was arrested for trespassing in August 2022. Okay. And they said that when he was arrested for trespassing in August of 2022, whatever occurred during that time, they claim that it could have been influenced by symptoms of chronic traumatic encephalopathy, or CTE, which is a degenerative brain disease that has been found in hundreds of NFL players after they died. Okay. Due to his mental illness, the county found him not able to stand trial and also not able to provide assistance to counsel And so they put him in the Twin Towers Correctional Facility since August of 2022. As noted by TMZ Sports, Wilson Jr.'s mother said officials previously told her that her son had fallen out of a chair during the intake process before he died. Okay. According to the New York Post, the family is seeking $45 million in damages. Wilson's junior father, Stanley Wilson Sr., who is also a former NFL player, said that the family simply wants the truth. It hurts really bad to bury your child, he said, per KABC. And that's a daggone shame because they are probably correct. I mean, I don't know, but they may be correct in regards to excessive force and all the other stuff they said in this article. Anyway, it's a tragic. I know that. And my condolences are extended out to his family and to his friends and fans. And hopefully everything will work out for his family and they get their lawsuit. Hopefully they win their lawsuit. Okay. Let me see what these comments are saying here. Let's see. Okay, these people be saying stupid comments. Let me read a comment that says something that says something better than these people are saying. Let's see. Let's go. Let's see. So Wendy says, I would not doubt it at all. So much corruption going on in there and in these streets. But I have a question. If he wasn't able to stand trial because of mental issues, how come he wasn't taken to the mental hospital? That's what I was trying to figure out. Hey, X-Man Gaming, thank you so much, hon. Thanks for showing up. I don't know what I be talking about sometime when I be on this mic. Okay, let's see. Somebody said he was in a mental facility. They obviously killed him. Yeah, the article is confusing the way they wrote this because I thought they said that he was in a correctional facility. I don't know. Okay, they say he was transferred to the Twin Towers in Los Angeles. Okay. Greg said that's what they do in all correctional facilities. It's just that some are more connected than others and therefore better at covering up and cleaning it up. Okay. Will Chris said local police corruption is real. It needs to be acknowledged. Our local governments are abusing the law enforcement agencies against Americans. Okay. JA says people of the African diaspora have to be careful about their perspectives and white folks' problems. Okay. He said historically and continuously our engagement in that space never ends well for us. We must continue to pray for God's mercy in all things and for all people and care for ourselves as a priority. We are constantly vulnerable from cradle to the grave. When folks show and tell us who they are, we must believe them. Okay? Okay, I'm not reading hers. This is explaining crazy. So somebody else says, I don't get it. He died, but the family wants to profit from his death. If he was nuts and they care so much for him, why didn't they take care of him? Okay. All right, but anyway, again, like I said before, my prayers are extended out to his family, and my condolences are extended out to his family as well. And hopefully, you know, they win the lawsuit if what they claim is actually true. All right. So we're going to do 2 more stories, and that is going to be it for this breaking news, y'all. And then we're going to get out of here, all right? So a newborn, y'all, was found dead in a Iowa ditch. Mother, granddad charged with the murder. So the mother and grandfather of a newborn found dead in a ditch have been charged with first-degree murder, and court documents says they told investigators the baby was still alive when they put him in a trash bag and abandoned him. Okay, this is a damn shame. Megan K. Stodd, 25, who needs her ass beat, just like the men, you know, that I said yesterday, she needs her ass beat too, told police the child was born at home on February the 24th, according to a police affidavit. She told the police that she put him in a box and didn't provide any care for 2 days before she and her father, Rodney A. Stodd, 64, put him in a bag. And this is sad. Rodney Stodd also confessed and said he helped his daughter dispose of the bag in a ditch near Norwalk, according to the documents. Both the Stodds initially told police the baby died on the way to the hospital after it was born. Megan Stodd said she buried him in a cemetery in Comey, but authorities found no evidence of a fresh grave at the cemetery. Law enforcement officers received a tip from Megan Stodd's co-workers on March the 8th, leading to the discovery of the body. On March the 13th, a witness showed authorities a text conversation with Megan Stodd in which the witness asked her, was the baby alive when you left him? And she replied, a little. That's crazy as hell. It's just a tragic set of circumstances on a number of levels, Norwalk Police Chief Greg Staples told the Des Moines Register. That baby did not have the choice to decide his own fate. And now there's, who the hell wrote this article for real? Y'all, I'm going to have to start using a different news source because this is ridiculous. Let me put this in my own words, okay? The baby didn't have the choice to decide his own fate. And now there are people in jail because of it. Okay. Okay, so anyway, the autopsy is pending, and the investigation entire matter is still ongoing. Okay. Rodney and Megan Stodd are each being held in the Warren County Jail on $1 million bond. And they don't know who the father is of this baby. And I hope it's not the man, her dad, because you never know. Okay, so they had some complaints about the house where she lived at. And they were getting a lot of calls about the house. They called the house a public nuisance. They also said the home is deteriorating and was not safe, okay, to live in. So this is what the house looked like. I'm gonna show y'all. Wait a minute, let me put my plate down. I told y'all I always be eating. Every time I get on this daggone camera, I'm eating something. Yeah, I really hate seeing these things happen to children too, X-Man Gaming. You're right. Let me put this up here real quick. Okay, so this is the little shack they live in. Let me stop, y'all. This is the house. Wait, what the hell am I doing, y'all? This is the house, okay? Okay, so yeah, it was boarded up. It looked like it was. And this is this little lady right here. Let me show it to you. I almost hit this computer. It's a touch screen, so I can't be hitting it because it'll go off. So this is the lady right here, okay? Looking a hot mess, okay? So yes, and they did not have a picture of her dad. I don't think so. Let me see. No dad picture. Okay, so anyway, my condolences are extended out to any other family members that actually love, but they probably didn't even know about the baby. But anyway, my prayers are extended out to the baby, you know, regardless. And I hope justice is done to them the mom and the damn granddad, because it's a shame that they killed that little innocent baby. Don't even make no sense. If she didn't want the baby, she could have just, when she had the baby, she could have just took the baby to the hospital and told them that she didn't want the baby, and they would have showed her what to do and went from there. And they would have took the baby from her. Anyway, they say they can leave a baby up to 3 months old at a hospital or a healthcare facility without facing legal actions. So if she did not want her child, she should have just put the baby in a blanket and took him to the hospital and said she didn't want her baby and been done with it. But no, she wanted to do something else. She wanted to become a murderer along with her dad. And he need his old ass kicked. Okay, for real. He really does, because he should know better. He should have been telling his daughter not to do that. But then she probably learned that from him. That's sad. But anyway, hopefully justice will be served on them, okay, for that little, for the heinous crime that they just did to her child. It don't even make no sense. And somebody said exactly what I just said. They said her father was probably the daddy to the baby. Because why would he be, disposing the baby? He probably told her to dispose of, could have even threatened her. So they definitely need to be definitely asking her about that. You know what I'm saying? Because you just never know. Point blank. Okay, one more story, and then we get ready to get out of here. I've been on here 2 hours. We get ready to get out of here. So Pfizer recalls 4.2 million prescription drug packages, and it's only due to the risk of child poisonings, okay? So let me just tell you about this real quick, and then we get ready to get out of here, okay? So Pfizer is recalling 4.2 Nurtec, which is Nurtec ODT 75 milligram tablets. And these are sold in cartons containing 1 blister card of 8 tablets, okay? And this is a notice, according to a notice from the Consumer Product Safety Commission, CPSC. All right. The drug, according to Pfizer, is intended for the acute treatment of migraine with or without aurora in adults, in the preventative treatments of episodic migraines in adults. The package is not child resistant as required by the Poison Control Act, which poses a risk of poisoning if the contents are swallowed by young children. Okay. So as of today, there hadn't been any injuries or illness tied to the packaging. This packaging was manufactured by Biohaven Pharmaceuticals International Company in October 2022. All right. So if you have that medication, it's in a recall, point blank. You can take it back to your pharmacy or wherever you got it from. And if you don't want to return it, because they say you don't have to return it, okay, just make sure you keep it away from your children, okay, point blank, because it does not have a child resistant, it's not child resistant, okay? So that means that a kid can get into it easily. So just keep it out of sight. Or if you don't want to keep the medication or whatever the case is, you can take it back and probably get a refund and get some new medication. I don't know. But you could keep it, just keep it out of reach of your children, which in my opinion, any medication you have, even if it does have a child resistant thing on it, you keep it out of reach of your children, because you never know. They can get stuff open. You know what I'm saying? So just keep the stuff. Keep it out of the way of, of your children. Make sure they can't get it, okay? Point blank. So they had some more women missing. I don't know why people keep on going to Mexico, because they keep on becoming missing. Okay, why do these people keep on visiting Mexico? Okay, so this is the last story for tonight. I got to read this because I just saw this on my phone. So prosecutor says some of the 6 missing women in Mexico were found dead. Now, I don't even know what women they're talking about. But anyway, A prosecutor in Mexico said Thursday there's evidence that some of the 6 women who went missing on March the 7th have been found dead. Okay, but let's see. So they was in another city coming there, but where were they from? I don't know. I don't even know why they're sending me this. This is not like, I don't even know why they send. But anyway, my condolences are extended out to their families and friends. And my prayers are with them as well. But still, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I haven't heard about this either. Somebody else said 6. I hadn't heard about this. Were there citizens from the U.S.? Sad either way. I'm just wondering because this is new news to me. That's awful for their families. Now, I remember I told you guys about the 3 women they were looking for in Mexico. I never heard about no 6 women, so I don't know what they're talking about either. So yeah, so these 6 women went missing on March the 7th, and now they have been found deceased. But I didn't, like I said, I didn't even hear about this. But the thing is, I don't understand why people are still going to Mexico if they know all these things have happened there. I don't know why they keep on doing that. Yeah, I wear socks to bed all the time. Well, not all the time, but I put them on now. I'm just reading this article. But anyway, guys, that's it for the news break. Okay. Like I said, I'll read whatever other news articles tomorrow and any upcoming articles. I'll read it tomorrow to you guys. I don't know for sure if I'm going to do self-destruction tomorrow or if I'll do it next week, because again, I have to go back and research the information because it was totally erased from my other phone. I could not retrieve it back. So I can't talk about a subject if I don't have my stuff to read, okay, to remind me of what I need to say. Okay, so as soon as I get that back together, sometime next week, I'll do the self-destruction topic, and we'll have a good conversation regarding that. All right, so guys, we're going to go ahead and do roll call like every other night when I'm on, and then we're going to get out of here, okay? So I just want to say thank you to Neek for coming by. Thank you, Missy, for everything that you do, and also thank you for your cash app that you just gave me. I appreciate you. Let's see. Thank you, Mr. Morgan Overalls, for stopping by. Let's see who else was on here. Thank you, X-Man Gaming, for stopping by. Thank you, Lord, for stopping by. On my other chat, Elisa, thank you too for coming by as well. And I think another person came through on my chat. I can't remember who it was because it was on my first video. That video will be erased, though. It will be deleted. That won't stay up. But also, thank you to everybody in my bushes, and thank you to everybody who's going to watch this in the replay. Again, I hope you guys learned some things tonight. If you happen to see any of these people, please call the proper authorities. And again, I hope their family gets some type of closure, hopefully a positive closure. Other than that, guys, don't forget to thumbs up this video. Don't forget to hit the bell notification so you can be notified of any upcoming videos. Let me stop the screen. Also, don't forget to leave a comment if you watch this in the replay. All right? Don't forget to do that, y'all. I want y'all to have a beautiful Friday. Do something fun and stay positive, all right? And happy born day to all of my March babies. And let me let y'all know, I don't usually talk about my birthday, but I'll let you know next week is my birthday, y'all. It's my birthday. It's my birthday. Hey. I don't like talking about it too much, though. I never have. I usually wait right to the day before or 2 days before, and I'll be like, y'all, it's my birthday. But yeah, next week is. So I'm a March baby, too. I'm an Aries, y'all. All right, an Aries. But anyway, let me put this up here for Missy. Thank you so much, Missy. I appreciate you. All right. All right, guys. We are getting ready to get out of here. We're getting ready to call it a night. Yeah, positivity tomorrow, y'all. And get y'all some good sleep tonight because I am. And I'm going to be busy tomorrow. But I will be back tomorrow night between 7:15 and 7:30. Okay, let's just say 7:15. Yeah, 7:15 and 7:30. All right. Other than that, guys, you know what I'm about to say. They sure are a blessing, Missy. They definitely are. Y'all know what I'm about to say. I am about to say good night. Good night, y'all. Peace out.